Hi there, welcome to the first episode of my 10-minute moan today. And the topic of this first 10-minute moan is the fact that the SNP have now cut the winter fuel payment to our old age pensioners. Now, the headline, I'm using the Daily Record as a source for this, says winter fuel payment will no longer be paid to all Scots as SNP ministers introduce means testing. The Scottish Government has said that the Westminster move will cause funding cuts of up to £160 million. I understand that. What I don't understand is why the Scottish Government are actually following the Labour Party that they slaughtered for cutting the winter fuel payment. Now, I know they're saying that there is a funding cut up to £160 million, but this is the same government that spent £300 million in the last 12 months giving under 22's free bus passes. Those bus passes are not available to the rest of the UK, therefore it's an easy decision. Do you want to give Neds transport so they can take their Ned culture further afield, or do you want to have our old people warm in the winter? That is not Westminster's decision, that's yours. You have made that decision, and many like it. So let's go to the story. The winter fuel payment will no longer be paid to all Scots and will instead become means tested. It was confirmed today. The Scottish Government has said that the move will cause funding cut of up to £160 million. SNP Justice Secretary Shirley-Anne Somerville said this means there is no alternative but to copy the decision in Scotland and restrict payments to pensioners who receive eligible benefits. She said this was happening because the funding cut facing amounts to as much as 90% of the cost of Scotland's replacement benefit. Labour Chancellor Rachel Reeves accused the Tories of covering up the dire state of public finances when she announced the winter fuel payment will no longer be paid to all older people across the UK last month. Somerville said, despite all efforts to review our financial position, we have been left with no choice but to follow the UK Government and restrict payments to older people who receive relevant eligible benefits. Well, you couldn't have reviewed all your financial position that much, or you would have been aware of what I just said 32 seconds ago, that we pay £300 million per year so that those under 22 can use free buses. Great idea in theory if the youth are going to go to museums, art galleries, libraries, etc. They don't. The vast majority are jumping on buses to take their Ned culture from one area into another. If you don't believe me, go and talk to the people on the south side of Glasgow. Because some of the nicer areas out there are now finding the Ned culture's moved from 5 miles away, which they're quite happy with, to their doorstep. That's what's happening. So, if you've reviewed your financial position and you've decided to keep putting that money into free bus transport as opposed to the old folks' heating bills, then you've made that decision after reviewing your full financial position. This is a necessary decision when faced with such a deep cut to our funding and in the most challenging financial circumstances since devolution. The reduction we are facing amounts to as much as 90% of the cost of Scots' replacement benefit, the pension age winter heating payment. Given the UK Government's decision to restrict payments to those in receipt of means-tested benefits such as pension credit and the implications for the Scottish Government detailed above, I have urged the Secretary of State for Works and Pensions to undertake a benefits take-up campaign for pension credit to move forward with plans for social energy tariff. Right, so what we've done is exactly as I said they would do. Up until the 4th of July, when the Scottish Government had to do stuff and they have to pass on bad information to the UK, or they made a complete arse of anything, they blamed one of three things: Westminster, Brexit, or Tories. And everybody could see it. I said it many times that as of the 4th of July, they would be blaming Brexit, Westminster, or Labour. Guess what they're doing? Both these measures will provide some further protections to energy customers in greatest need. Finance Secretary Shona Robinson was blunt when she said on Wednesday why the pension age winter heating payment will not be universal. She said, I share the frustration of everyone, but we had no choice. Shona, you did have a choice. You run the country, right? You had loads of choices. And I keep saying about the bus passes for under 22s. The other thing you've done, you're saying it's given you £160 million black hole. Well, that's almost the identical figure that the Scottish Government just gave to, I believe it was 6 Scottish, I've done a video on it, I'll put it at the end. They gave to 6 Scottish bus companies so they could transfer or help transfer their fleet from diesel to electricity. Guess how much we gave them? £150 million. So we didn't need to do that because these are private businesses that would have to renew their fleet and would plan to renew their fleet through time anyway. And we've just helped them do that, which would be a normal business investment. If you own any business that uses vehicles, regardless if it's company cars, delivery vans or buses, you would need to factor into your budget as a plan for a business to renew those vehicles and any other equipment, to be fair. If you're a printer, a printing machine, if you're a welder, a welding machine, and you plan to change these things through time. We've just gave 6 bus companies in Scotland £150 million to help them renew their buses, which they should be doing anyway. And guess what? You're saying that this would cost us £160 million. So you had plenty of options. So see this, Shona Robinson, I share the frustration of everyone, but we had no choice. No defence. Absolutely zero defence. She added the Scottish Government could not find £160 million it would have cost. It's painful, painful decision. It's funny. We can't find this £160 million from a budget. But we managed to find it to put kids in buses. We managed to find it to do free prescriptions, which is ruining the NHS. We managed to find it when we need it, or when not necessarily need it, but when SNP want it, to put up nice voting carrots to folk, right? Look what we do. We give baby boxes. What does that cost us in a year, right? A lot of nonsense. So, it ain't weird. What you've decided is, you've decided the same as the Labour government, that we're going to do this anyway. Without actually, to find the money elsewhere in the budget would mean upsetting people that might vote for you. We already know the demographic of older people tend not to vote for you, right? So, that's the truth. The truth is not you had no choice. Of course you had choice, and you made the decision to cut it. She added the Scottish Government could not find on that, but Reeves revealed there was a £22 billion gap in the UK government spending plans when she announced the winter fuel bill could not go to all older people. The benefit introduced in 1997 by Gordon Brown will instead be means tested. The payment is already due to be replaced in Scotland by the pension age winter heating plan. Same horse, different jockey, because that's what Scottish Parliament does. Scottish Labour leader Anna Sarwar backed the replacement benefit for the winter fuel payment being targeted as Scots who need it most. Well, obviously it has to, because it's a Labour government that are doing that in Westminster. The Scottish Labour leader said it made little sense for millionaires to be receiving the handout at the time of immense pressure in public services. Kinda agree with that, but I'll come back to that. He said his party is still firmly in favour of other universal benefits such as prescriptions and tuition fees. That's a game changer. Because we now have the Labour Party sounding the exact same as the SNP. Didn't do that before the election, Anwar. Mr. Sarwar, sorry. So, what's going on here? He said his party is still firmly in favour of other universal benefits such as prescriptions and tuition fees. That's going to go right into my head and stay there for a hell of a long time. That the Labour Party are now backing two things that the SNP flag wave about. Is this you pitching for Holyrood in 2 years already to try and attract more of the SNP vote? This is party politics and nothing more. But anyway, back to what he said about little sense for millionaires to be receiving the handout at a time of immense pressure on public services. Well, let's go back to where this started. The benefit was introduced in 1997 by Gordon Brown. Gordon Brown was a representative of the Labour Party. Why did you not argue that point? Labour Party back in 1997, when it was your government that introduced it, to say, hold on, we're filling the pockets of millionaires. I'm not really sure how many millionaire pensioners we've got in Scotland, but I find your words a bit damning. And what you followed it up with is to say, oh, look at these SNP things, they're quite good. Does they sit well with me? Does they sit well with me for two reasons? One is a unionist, and one is someone who applies common sense and logic and can see neither of these things have any benefit, big benefit, to anyone. However, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, please. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications button. Get involved in the comments below. You always get good fun in there. But most importantly of all, unless you're this SNP government that always and always will blame other people up until 2026, when hopefully we horse them right out the door. See everybody else. Have a great day. Cheery bye now.